and in liaison with the people from Project Sunlight, and she will introduce our speaker. Thank you, Gloria.
I'm very delighted to see all of us here today, and especially delighted to introduce John Maggiore, who's going to talk to us on Project Sunlight. We're lucky to have him here. He's served as policy advisor for Attorney General Andy Cuomo, and he's an advisor on numerous policy issues. He's also intimately involved with the agency's communications, outreach, and intergovernmental operations. He also serves as the Attorney General's representative on the Buffalo and Fort Erie Public Bridge Authority. We all know about that, right? He was born and raised in Buffalo. He currently divides his time between Buffalo, Albany, and all the rest of the New York State. John Maggiore.
Thank you very much. I'm going to do this presentation from here because Project Sunlight is a website, and we're connected to it live, and I'm going to show you how to use it. So, as Gloria said, I am John Maggiore, and a policy advisor to the Attorney General, and I'm going to talk today about a project that my understanding is you've heard of, Project Sunlight, which is a public integrity initiative that Attorney General Cuomo imagined when he was running for Attorney General in 2006, and was created in his first year in 2007. I was involved with that, but I was not the quarterback of that effort. The quarterback brought in to create Project Sunlight, to get it launched, was Blair Horner, who is a leading reform advocate in Albany. He's been affiliated with NYPIR for many, many years. And he came in and got Project Sunlight launched, got it off the ground, and then once it was off the ground, he went back to NYPIR. He felt like the job that he came in to do was completed. But I still talk to Blair quite a bit. I just had lunch with him last week. Since he's departed, I have essentially become one of the, I suppose, the principal spokesperson for Project Sunlight. So I'm going to tell you how it works. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you how to get to Project Sunlight. This is the Attorney General's webpage, the newly revamped webpage. And you can see, I don't know, can everybody see the screen?
I'm going to try to figure out which of these lowers the.
So I don't know if you can see the URL. The URL is www.oag.state.ny.us. I can never remember it. So the way that I like to get to the Attorney General's page is through Google. New York State Attorney General. And that's going to take you right to this site. And the Attorney General's website, it has many useful links. It talks quite a bit about what we're working on, but for purposes of this presentation, we're just going to link to Project Sunlight, which I did prior to starting to talk, so there's no load time. So the idea that the Attorney General had was that there's quite a bit of public information, or there had been quite a bit of public information out there about, oops, my tie is out. I'm on television, I need to look good for
There goes another 10 minutes.
Albany, it might be the most mysterious, right? State government might be the most mysterious level of government. New Yorkers from Chautauqua County to Suffolk County have very strong opinions about state government. Many of them are not positive opinions about state government. But it's also probably, and I don't know this as a fact, but I believe that it is the least covered level of government. If you think about your paper, the Dunkirk Observer say, you read a lot about what's going on in the federal government. You read about the presidential campaign, the president and Congress, and there's a lot of coverage of Chautauqua County government and local government. But the least amount of government that gets coverage is state government. Um,
How's that? Pretty good?
Thank you.
that's fine. Can everybody see?
No.
Thank you. And Albany has been a mysterious place, in part because a lot of what goes on there has taken place not necessarily by design, but in effect, in secret. There's some basic information that is, or has been, at least theoretically publicly available, information about legislation, about lobbying, about campaign finance, about state contracts, about member items. And some of this information was fairly easily accessible. It wasn't, for many years, it's been fairly easy to look up the status of a bill. And some of it has been only theoretically publicly available. For instance, information about state contracts. And there's no place you could go to find information about state contracts, even though theoretically this was publicly available. Or member items. Up until, 2 years ago, from 1996 until, I think, 2006, 2007, you could know how much in the aggregate was spent on member items. But let me stop here for a moment. Does anybody know what a member item is? A member item is a discretionary grant. The term usually refers to small discretionary grants that are allocated by legislators. Legislators get a certain amount of what's called member item money. Now, the governor also has member item money. And there's another term for member items. Does this sound familiar? Yeah.
Yes.
What is it?
I was gonna say slush fund.
Pork. Well, pork is the common term, and you might say, well, that's a slush fund. But I didn't say that. So, but there are broad parameters for what this money can be used on. For instance, the Attorney General needs to review to make sure that it's actually going towards a public purpose. So member item money is not supposed to be used to build a swimming pool in somebody's backyard, but it could be used to build a swimming pool for a county-owned community center. But exactly what it was spent on and how much people spent and where it was spent was pretty much a mystery for at least 10 years. In any case, there were all sorts of information that was supposed to be available to the public, some of which could be accessed easily, some of which couldn't. Andrew thought, you know what, people have opinions about Albany, people have questions about Albany, people want to know about Albany. There should be a one-stop place to find all this information. And he imagined this one-stop place being a website, a very easy-to-use website, and that was the origin of the concept of Project Sunlight. So he described the vision to Blair. He brought Blair on board. I don't want to take any credit away from Blair in the creation of this. And now this is a resource that has been online now for over a year, and I'm going to show you how to use it. This is the Project Sunlight main page. And it shows you some of the different things that you could look up: bills, elected officials, lobbyists, member items. The search the databases. If you're not exactly sure what you're looking for, you could plug in a term, and it will search all of our databases. You could look up, I'll get to that. But the first page describes what Project Sunlight is. It has some of the most basic links that you might want to see. If you want to read more about Project Sunlight, or about any of the terms that might come up, if you want to read more about state government, if you want to read more about lobbyists, if you want to read more about the concept of member items, we have information, we have an information page that has little essays or links to briefings on state government, Project Sunlight, frequently asked questions. I used to teach. Before I worked for the Attorney General, I worked at Buffalo State College. And I was in the administration, but I taught a class. And if this existed when I taught, I would have all my students read this. But let's say you don't like to read. I'm not going to open these up. Let's say you don't like to read. You want to get to this information quicker. We have a series of videos. And these videos are on different topics: basics of state government, member items, lobbying,